Hey guys, how's it going? It's Krista and I'm glad you're here. Today I wanted to share a really cool, fun Easter egg coloring technique for adults. And what you'll need is an egg, and I went ahead and blew out the contents of the egg, so it's just a hollow shell. And I did that by poking a hole in each end of the egg and letting the contents of the egg fall into a bowl. You'll also need some alcohol inks. I'm using Tim Holtz. I have a gold alloy alcohol ink, gumball alcohol ink, mermaid alcohol ink, glacier alcohol ink, pistachio alcohol ink, and citrus alcohol ink. The other tools you'll need for this is a glass mat or something to protect your surfaces, either glass or a really heavy duty plastic that you'll want to throw out after. I prefer the glass because I can wipe it off with isopropyl alcohol and clean it up for my next project, as well as a Scott towel. And I'm just going to start by dripping some alcohol inks over this egg. I started off with Glacier and I completed 2 eggs. For this egg, I don't know why, but the ink was not as saturated on this egg as the first egg that I tried it on. I don't have an explanation for it. The eggs came from the same company, the same pack of eggs. I handled them both in exactly the same way, so I'm not sure if one eggshell is more porous than the other, or if it's some sort of wash that the company uses to wash the egg before they get sent out to the consumer. I don't have an answer, but I did notice that some eggs took the ink more easily than others. With this egg though, I just kept adding some alcohol ink and it did become saturated. I don't have a rhyme or reason to the colors that I'm adding, just kind of what I think will look good. On my first egg that I tried before I filmed this, I did put down one color and then went right into the alloy. That seemed to have worked a little bit better than adding the alloy later on. When I added the alloy, I wanted to make sure that I gave it a really good shake just to make sure that the metallic portion of this alloy was dispersed well into the rest of the medium. And when the alloy was added, it does make the color disperse a little bit. So I went in and added some color back in after adding the alloy. And you can stop at whatever point you want. You don't have to keep adding pigments. If you like it a little less saturated, that is great too. Just know that the more alcohol inks that you add, the more marbled, the more saturated the colors will be. I brought in a little bit of Fiesta alcohol ink, but I decided that I didn't really like it and went back to the gumball for my pink. There are some safety concerns when doing this technique. You want to make sure that you don't have any contents of your egg within the shell when you're coloring with alcohol inks. And that's because the eggshells are porous by nature. And the ingredients in the alcohol inks, you don't want that to go into the egg. So this is not for use on eggs that are hard boiled. You can't use it on ones that are raw and you're going to eat later. This is really only for a decorative blown out egg. This project is definitely for adults. Just because of the ingredients in the alcohol inks, you don't want kids to get them on their hands and then put them in their mouth. And to blow out my egg, I used a safety pin on either end and I collected the contents of the egg into a bowl. And because I blew out the egg before I handled any alcohol ink material, I do plan on eating that egg so it won't go to waste. All the drippings of the alcohol inks do pool under the egg. That's why you want to make sure that you have something covering your surfaces for this project. and I just used a Scott towel to lightly drip off the excess so that it would dry faster. I have not let an egg dry in the pool of alcohol ink, but I would suspect that if the egg dries and the alcohol ink dries and the egg is sitting in that puddle of alcohol ink, it will kind of glue together and you could potentially break it when you go to lift it up. So that's why I dripped off the excess and set it aside to dry. And I did try a little bit of blending solution on the very end of the egg because I wasn't sure if I would like the effect. And I'm glad that I only tried it on a small unseen portion of the egg because the blending solution did run underneath the egg and it made the portion underneath lighter. Now that's definitely a look that you can go for, but it's just not what I prefer. And that concludes our super quick, super fun egg coloring technique for adults. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.